Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Tales from the Podcast. I'm your host, JB, and before I go ahead and jump into this episode, I first want to go ahead and thank my friend Sydney. Link below. Just scrolling, check that shit out. You can check these out, these spooky wax melts that she does, and use my code TFTP20, save 20%, and that is also in the show notes. So yeah, please check that out. I mean, you're gonna buy things like that. You want your house to smell good. Why not help support a good cause, with, I don't know if you consider it a good cause, but, support me in the show. That's for sure. Also, check out my sponsor over at House Mysterious Secrets at housemysterioussecrets.com. Use my code 4130, save 10% on awesome fucking merch. That's for sure. I mean, they got a little bit of everything. I can't stress enough. If you're a horror fan, check them out. And last but not least, obviously, check me out over at talesfrompodcast.com. Check out my YouTube. Give me a like, share, subscribe, all that cool shit. And over at talesfrompodcast.com, you can also get the first issue of Tales of Shock and Terror. I strongly suggest checking it out because, let's just be honest, there's not going to be many copies left here soon, especially after the the day I just had over at Fantasticon. So, it's going good, and there's not many left. So if you want them, I strongly suggest, if you want a physical copy, go there, check it out, and get a copy or 10. That's for sure. So, anyways, I'm still in season 7, and I mean, what can I really say? It is season 7, and the episode that I'm doing tonight is called Horror in the Night. And this episode originally aired May 24th of 96, and it's based off a story from Vault of Horror issue number 12. I like everything with this season. It's kind of harsh doing season 7, that's for sure. Anyways, to jump into this episode, we got the director for this episode is Russell McCaughey. I don't fucking know how you say that. But he's done a little bit of stuff. He did the Teen Wolf TV series. He did quite a few episodes of that. He directed Resident Evil Extinction, and Highlander as well. I mean, he's done quite a few other things too, but I mean, some good, some bad. It's kind of a hit and miss kind of thing with him for sure. Because I mean, sure, he did, Resident Evil. He did The Shadow, if you remember that one. The Highlander 2, a bunch of Elton John, Queen music videos, Duran Duran. I mean, some pretty cool shit for sure. There's no arguing that. But he's done some bad stuff too, like The Scorpion King 2. So, like I said, he does a lot of hit and miss stuff, but I mean, overall, I think he has a pretty decent career that, going for him for sure. Now, starring in this episode, we have Elizabeth McGovern in here. With a lot of these actors, you gotta keep in mind that we're definitely in a different area of the world in a lot of these episodes and a lot of these shows that they've been a part of. So, for the most part, I haven't really heard of a lot of these, that's for sure. But I mean, as far as some of the ones I have heard of, though, she did pretty good work. I mean, she was in Kick Ass, Downton Abbey, uh, Patriot, or no, that's not Patriot. I don't know how to say that fucking word. But I mean, obviously, Tales from the Crypt, Wings of a Dove, Clover, Twice Upon Yesterday. But I mean, just a bunch of random stuff too. Fairy Tale Theater, um, Once Upon a Time in America, Native Son, Shock to the System. She's definitely been around acting since the early '80s, to say the least, and obviously still doing quite a bit of work nowadays. I mean, a decent amount of work, that's for sure. Now, we also have James Wilby in this episode too, and James is probably best known for. I mean, honestly, a lot of the stuff I don't really even know what it is, but I mean, he's a pretty big person in Poldark, but I've never seen Poldark, never even heard of it. He was in the Nightmare Worlds of H.G. Wells, which is pretty cool. He's definitely been acting also, quite a long time, but a lot of the stuff he's been in is definitely stuff that I don't think has had like a huge international audience, to say the least. He's definitely, like I said, been in a lot of stuff. There's no arguing that, but not a lot of stuff that really made it over here very well. So it's kind of hard to figure out if he really was like a really big actor or not. I'm sure he was. I mean, the dude's been working for years and years. But at least as far as over here, I mean, not too much stuff that I've can pick up on. I mean, he was in Salt, Masquerade, The Duke, Casualty, but I mean, also in a lot of stuff just never fucking heard of. In this episode, we also have Ronan Vibert. Man, talk about a fucking name. He actually passed away last year. But he was actually in quite a bit of stuff. He was in Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the Cradle one, Saving Mr. Banks, Tristan and Isolde, The Snowman, and Carnival Row. I mean, he's actually had a little bit more of an international career. Penny Dreadful, Lizzie Borden Chronicles, Dracula Untold. Even did a lot of voices for like Assassin's Creed. So, definitely a little bit bigger of a name, at least as far as I'm concerned. We also got Edward Tudor Pole in this episode as well. He definitely just has one of those faces where you just know who he is by his face. He did a little bit of stuff with like Game of Thrones, some of the Agatha Christie stuff, Les Mis, Sid and Nancy, The Life and Death of Peter Sellers, Quills. He's definitely a character actor for sure, but I don't think he's actually worked in quite a while. I think, his last thing that he did was actually in 2013, even though he does have something in post production right now. So, we'll have to wait and see if he's still doing that. We also got Peter Guinness in this, also. Another character actor. Somebody that, I mean, most of us probably recognize him from Alien 3. At least that's where I recognized him. He was also in Zack Snyder's Justice League, if you're a fan of that piece of shit. He did the Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan series, Cursed, the TV show Cursed, which, I mean, that's kind of sad. Like, honestly, like, even though it only lasted one season, I mean, that was a pretty decent show considering what it was. And it's kind of sad that that one didn't last very long, at least in my opinion. I actually really liked it. He was also in King Arthur Legend of the Sword, which is kind of cool. He did two things kind of with the King Arthur kind of vibe there. He was also in Chernobyl, Official Secrets, The Last Boy. I mean, quite a bit of shit, realistically. Dude's been And just another one of those people who've been acting for fucking ever. I mean, I think he has like 100 credits or pretty fucking close to it. Now, to jump into this episode a little bit now, to give the plot synopsis, it says a double-crossing jewel thief is shot and hides out in a hotel where he starts to hallucinate about a mysterious, beautiful woman. I mean, for the most part, that's not wrong for the TV episode. He ends up double-crossing his partner with like a jewel heist, and it was obviously something they were doing for the insurance money where the guy was going to get it back. But, he ends up going to this hotel and completely just like losing his mind, waking up, having all these dreams. And, he was already shot. And it's just like basically like this man going crazy over and over again through dreams. It's almost like a horror version of Groundhog Day, but it's all dreams. And come to find out, it's all hallucinations. He ends up getting shot at the end, and then we kind of get the real picture of what's going on. And his old partner actually lived and everything, and found him there. And it was a abandoned, rundown place. I mean, it didn't look anything like it did in his visions of seeing it all. And apparently, he did a brutal kind of execution style murder there years ago, and was kind of hallucinating that woman and kind of going nuts over it all. And I mean, overall, it wasn't a horrible episode there. There was some pretty cool effects, especially when the woman did like this whole demon type thing and you see these wings coming out. And I mean, the budget for this episode was definitely a little bit better than some of the other ones in this season. That, or they at least utilized the money better to make it a lot nicer. And definitely had like that whole paranormal type feel to this episode, which I honestly really enjoy. I wish more of them would have this kind of a vibe to them compared to some of the like love triangle murder type things. And even though this one kind of still had the basic murder plot, it wasn't a bad episode. The thing that kind of like is odd about this episode though is the fact that it is based off a comic book. And the comic book is nothing like this episode. So the comic book issue, like I said, is Vault of Horror, issue number 12. And obviously based on the story Horror in the Night. Now, in Horror in the Night, it's more about these people who are, he's renting a cabin and this couple comes and this woman kind of goes crazy in the night, kills this cat, rips its throat out. And, the guy's calling her a ghoul and talking about the cemetery. Kind of gives you these weird vibes until you realize that, this woman's actually just kind of lost her mind after her child's died. And he's been on his way to take her to an insane asylum, which, I mean, sounds like a cool plot until you get to the end of the comic book issue and you realize that, the guy's telling the story to another person. And that person ends up having that couple come to his little hotel, and basically the process is still going. And he's all going crazy like, oh no, they're bringing death here. And in the back of my head I'm just thinking, well, if he was really going to take her to the asylum and then it didn't work out, and in the story he ends up killing her and then she's alive again. So I mean, there's a few issues there, but I mean, overall, I mean, there's just, it's a whole different story. And in my opinion, I'm going to say this is one of those rare instances too where the actual TV episode was probably better than the comic book for this one. I mean, I like the artwork and everything, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still a good story what they were doing, but I think adding the whole paranormal aspect to it and kind of really making it a lot creepier kind of really made the episode stand out. And I might be saying that mostly because most of season 7 is kind of just harsh episodes when you really start to break it down. And, it gets hard to watch some of those episodes for sure. I mean, some of these last ones have been really, really rough. Escape, A Slight Case of Murder. I mean, none of them have been close to the stories in the comics at all, but this right here at least has a decent story once it's, you actually get to see it. And like I said, in my opinion, I will say that, I mean, and it's weird even saying something like that, but I mean, season 7, episode 5, they did a better job on the TV show than they did in the comic book. Um, so I mean, obviously, trying to see who actually did the screenplay for this one and did it. John Harrison. So I mean, that's nice. We're getting a different name over here now. And John Harrison. I mean, oh well, you know, it should be pretty understandable why the fuck he did a good job. He worked on Dune, Dinosaur, Tales from the Dark Side, The Creep Show, TV series, The Librarians. I mean, this guy's actually been doing fucking some pretty good genre work for a long time. Scary Tales, Tales from the Dark Side of the movie, Tales from the Dark Side of the TV show. Well, and that's just the stuff he's directed. As far as the stuff he's written, I mean, basically all the same kind of stuff there, that's for sure. But I mean, the guy's done just so much shit. I mean, it's actually pretty impressive. I mean, really is. Damn. He also did some of the music for Day of the Dead and Creep Show, which is pretty cool too. So it's nice getting a fresher face in here. And I know he's done one other episode of Tales from the Crypt, but still pretty cool to see him, continuing to do stuff. It's still kind of crazy all the shit that he's actually done here. I mean, even done a lot of like soundtrack shifts for Creep Show 2, Creep Show 3. I mean, oh, it's because he's just the writer for the theme for the Creep Show song. He even did some music for Stranger Things and South Park. So I mean, this guy's actually pretty fucking talented. He looks like he's done a little bit of everything, literally. I mean, composing. I mean, a lot of the same music, that's for sure. But I mean, wow. I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Even did a little bit of acting, and I'm not gonna say anything that great on here, but in Dawn of the Dead, he was a screwdriver zombie, so that's pretty cool too. So I mean, damn. I mean, he might be the all-star of this episode, John. The writer who didn't write the episode just adapted a comic book. And I mean, damn, he really worked on some pretty fucking big projects. So congrats to him. That's for damn sure. But I mean, as far as the episode go, it wasn't a horrible episode, that's for sure. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite episode. I know IMDb gives it a 6.5, and honestly, I'm gonna say they're probably about right on the fucking head with that one. I mean, it's probably about 6.57. It's not horrible. It's not amazing. It's definitely, it's no fitting punishment, that's for sure. But it's probably the best one of this season so far, in my opinion. And I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't horrible, like I said. Hopefully they can keep this trend up. Spoiler alert, I've already seen them all. They don't keep this trend up. And I'm pretty sure everybody who's watching this actually knows that as well. I also want to go ahead and thank everybody who was able to make it out for Fantasticon. It's nice seeing everybody who was there. Thanks to everybody who purchased books. I mean, means a lot, that's for sure. And for those who didn't, remember, you can go to talesfromthepodcast.com and check out some books there. Upcoming on this, I mean, going forward, I mean, the next episode is technically Cold War, but let's be honest, I think it's time for a small little break and maybe do a movie review, have something a little bit more fun here, just to break it up a little bit before I go and start to finish out the rest of this. And hopefully everybody else will agree with me too. What movie am I going to be doing though? I'm not sure yet. It's going to be a surprise, I guess, or a surprise to those who don't follow me. If you do follow the Facebook page, I mean, you're gonna know as soon as I post it. So, there is that. But either way, it should be a fun one. Am I gonna have a guest for it? Not sure. Didn't really even schedule a guest for this one just because it was going to be such a random episode of being able to do just because the day's been so busy with convention stuff going on and everything. So I wanted to just make sure I did an episode and had one out there for people. And it is going to be a shorter episode. Obviously, when you're not getting everybody else's opinions on everything, but I will say that I'm, just happy to keep it consistent for those who do watch and listen and do enjoy what I'm doing here. So, and obviously, thank you guys for sure. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wrap everything up. So remember, check out the comic book Tales of Shock and Terror, and you can get that over at talesonthepodcast.com. Buy yourself 1 or 15 copies. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. If I do run out, you will still be able to get a lot of the stuff over at cutthroatcomics.com, the publisher. And I mean, Josh Nealis over there has been doing a great job with a lot of his work too. So check out some of the comics that he has going on. I mean, I recently picked up one of his latest copies of Turkey Sharks, which you can also pick up there too. I don't know if you can get this one, but because I know I have a really bad habit of ordering a lot of exclusive stuff that you can only get during certain times. But either way, check him out. Check out some of the stuff he has going on over there. I mean, he has novels, comics. I mean, if you do any kind of reading, he basically has something for you. Other than a romance novel, which I probably will start talking to him about writing a romance novel because I think it'd be funny to see him do one. And hopefully he thinks the same. Otherwise, I'm going to look like an asshole. But either way, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for checking me out. Remember, go share, like, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I mean, all the support is greatly fucking appreciated for sure. Thanks for continuing with me on this journey of Tales from the Crypt. I mean, that's lasted fucking so many years already, but I'm happy to be sharing this journey with everybody. That's for sure. So, yep. Thank you. Keep watching everything. And, I don't know. Hopefully, you do follow me and you'll see what movie I pick for next week. Hopefully I still do that. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick a movie because I'm kind of needing a small break. But thank you all for watching. And with that being said, the crypt is closed.
Thanks for listening, kiddies. You're all a scream.